Hello, BookTube. I come to you today in the middle of a bleak and barren Sunday. I know that on Sundays, quite a few of you spend extra time with your deity of choice. My deity of choice is the U.S. Postal Service, and on Sundays it hath forsaken me. No books in the mail, no deliveries for Steve. So I thought what I would do to alleviate my misery would be to go over the highlights of yesterday, the shipment that I got. Starting with this little thing, a new translation of De Senectute by Cicero. He wrote it in 44 BC. He'd just been shoved off the public stage by Julius Caesar and retired to his villa and decided to become a philosopher. This never bodes well, and in his case it didn't either, because he wrote one after another of the most boring works of the ancient world. This one is about old age, and our translator, Philip Freeman, ends his introduction by writing, let's see here, today's world, obsessed with the pursuit of youth, needs Cicero's wisdom more than ever. That is absolutely not true, but still, this is a fun thing. And it's obviously designed for the front table of a Barnes & Noble, which is rare for a work of classical literature that isn't the Iliad or the Odyssey, especially Cicero, good Lord. So it will almost certainly be fun to read. I will pop it down like an M&M. Next up is Northern Aggression by D. Peter MacLeod, an author I've never read before. This is about the Battle of the Plains of Abraham, which took place outside of Quebec City in 1759, between the British and their American colonists on one side and the French and their Indian allies on the other. That was fast, over in 20 minutes, calamitous, both generals died, and this author claims momentous in terms of its long-term effect, both in emboldening the American colonies to believe that they were power, which is absolutely true, and which they hadn't quite been aware of before, and also in emboldening the French to have long-term grievances against the British that would lead them a little later on to lend military aid and comfort to said colonies when they rebelled. In other words, this is, meaty, straightforward military history of the kind that I absolutely love. So it will go high on the list this week. Our next two books are connected in fairly obvious ways. First one is a new biography of Louisa Adams, the wife of John Quincy Adams. This is by Louisa Thomas. It's the latest Louisa Adams biography in a small glut of them, which is always nice to see. One of the more recent ones, and my favorite, was by Marjorie Heffron, who was a friend of mine and who didn't live long enough to finish what would have been her massive definitive biography of Louisa Adams. She got up to Inauguration Day and not any further. Too bad. And naturally that makes reading this or any other biography of Louisa Adams a little bittersweet for me. This has the benefit of being the full story, and instead of cutting off midway. I read it when I got the ARC. It's very lively, very chatty. I intend to reread it again now that I have the finished copy, and who knows, I might like it even more. I'll let you know. And in the same shipment came a biography of her husband. This is by James Traub, who I don't think I've ever read before. And it also continues a small renaissance of John Quincy Adams and Louisa Adams studies. I read this when I got it in paperback ARC a little while ago, and I liked it quite a bit. Maybe not quite as much as I liked Fred Kaplan's really, really lively comprehensive biography of J.Q.A. From a couple of years ago, but where that was more slanted towards the personal and the anecdotal, this is more slanted towards the political, which is, very good, because John Quincy Adams spent his entire life in politics. I liked it very much when I read it the first time, and now that I have this, lovely finished copy, I will follow my procedure of reading it again, and who knows what more I'll pick up on again. I'll let you know. And that is it. Those are the highlights from yesterday, and there are no highlights today, because this is a bleak and barren Sunday. But with any luck, I'll have better things to report tomorrow. I'll let you know.